All right. Hello, everybody. It's Rob. Welcome to our IBA Friday. What's the date today? This Friday, the 18th of August. It's hard to believe the summer is almost over. I am flying a little bit solo today. My buddy Javid, unfortunately, was unable to join us today, but it's okay. I got somebody even better to replace him. I got Mike Engel along for the ride today. Mike, how you doing?
Doing great, doing great. Yeah, you're not solo.
Yeah.
This thing.
Yeah, exactly. So today, everybody, we're gonna talk about passkeys, and I'm sure everybody has heard the word. Everybody's heard the term. It's like the new buzzword in the security space. But what I wanted to do today is bring in Mike to kind of talk to us a little bit about what they are and where they're used and how people are using them and how they could be used. All that great stuff. So, Mike, I'm going to put you on the spot. What are passkeys?
What passkey? What?
Yeah, exactly. What I did? You're breaking up.
Yeah, I gotta go. Bye.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it is a very confusing topic because everybody knows about FIDO,
Mhm.
and it's been around since 2013. All kinds of providers embracing it, but passkeys came out really guns blazing last year.
Mhm.
And then what really gave it steam was the big tech giants, Apple, Google, and Microsoft.
Yeah.
Made all kinds of announcements. Passkeys, we got it, right?
Yep.
And that happened last year. And subsequently, what the FIDO Alliance did, because there was so much traction around it, is they embraced the term passkey just to describe any FIDO passwordless credential.
Right.
So we're going to get into the weeds on that because there's different types of passkeys now. So it used to be there was like kind of the old FIDO way, and then there was this passkey thing, which is supposed to be letting it be more flexible that we'll talk about. So now passkey is any passwordless FIDO credential. And then the devil's in the details on the differences that we can get into here.
Yeah. We're going to try to touch on some of that today. So from a passkey perspective, now I think you've kind of already alluded to this, but who can use them in any sense? I know it's a FIDO authenticator, so basically anybody can. But when they originally announced them, what was the target for who can use these things?
Well, so FIDO keys really in the early days were targeted towards a very strong form of 2FA, right?
Mhm.
A really non-copyable, phishing resistant. And then it became a passwordless experience. So username, password, FIDO became just FIDO, which is great. It's actually a multi-factor experience with a kind of a single touch.
Yeah.
So really anybody can use them. If you have a Bank of America account today, you can use the legacy form, username, password, FIDO key. But you're seeing more organizations in the consumer world start to try to embrace them. So for example, if you go to Home Depot or the Kayak travel website or eBay, it'll pop up and say, let's do this passwordless with FIDO. So it's for any consumer. And it's also, of course, for any enterprise too that wants to do it for their own people. It's just that you have different considerations for them.
Okay. So I guess the big question is are they secure?
They are. Yeah, they're very secure from a technology implementation perspective. So behind the scenes, there's a private key. That private key goes somewhere in the user's possession. That's what makes it really secure. Without that, the key, the hash, the password is in a centralized server. And that's where all our password problems from the past, dozens of years have come from. So it's secure in that you're giving it to somebody and it's in their control. It's hard to get that, away from a user or fish it out from them, et cetera.
Okay. And then, so you've kind of talked a little bit about, what they are. Give me a couple of use cases. I know you said that Kayak and Home Depot, and I think you said maybe Bank of America is using them. Give me some use cases in terms where organizations could stand these things up and authenticate users with them.
So again, making sure we're on the right class of user. So
Yeah.
the consumers, because it's, we all have these consumer devices and these are very passkey friendly. And really, I'll talk about the new capability of passkeys. It's something called it's not roaming, but a synced pass key.
Okay.
So going back for years, I'm going to do a little bit of history, but passkey was bound to an individual device, or a FIDO key was bound to an individual device, typically an authenticator or your platform, your browser, your phone. And if you went to another device, you had to re-register, which means going back to you guessed it, username and password,
That's right.
and then setting up the password list there. So kind of defeated the purpose of portability.
Mhm.
So then this was the big announcement last year. Now that private key can roam between your other devices. So imagine I'm on my Mac here. I got a Mac downstairs. I set it up here. I can use it down there. Usability goes through the roof. That's
Yeah.
great, right? Now, as you know, in the enterprise password side, they want to really control the endpoint, the authentication, right? Keys to the kingdom are one authentication away. They are not going to be comfortable, for the most part, with that key floating between different devices. So there's other considerations when we get into the enterprise side. It's still very usable, and there's a whole working group and set of papers that came out about how to use FIDO in the enterprise that we can touch on here.
Okay. So you said that these keys are now they float. So I can store that key and then use it on another device. Now I've seen, some password managers out there saying that, hey, we can store your FIDO key, your pass key, and then you can share it. So talk to me a little bit about that, because I'm assuming that's not going to go over well on the enterprise side right now. Your wife or my spouse, or your significant other, whatever, you want to share the login, you can do that. But that to me sounds like you're sharing passwords all of a sudden, no?
It's sharing the authentication, yeah. So
Yeah.
so sometimes you may want to do that. It'd be
Yeah.
nice to share your pass key to the Home Depot site with your wife,
Yep.
so that she can, not have to create her own account or call
Yep.
you up for the password. So that's a
Yeah.
good use case. And so some of the controls on the enterprise side that you can do is restrict the number of devices that you can use. So you really want to have device attestation,
Mhm.
or they call it a device bound pass key. So imagine if that key is limited to only working on your phone, or you're the only one with the YubiKey. Now it's much harder, almost impossible for your wife to do that unless
That's right.
you hand her your phone and whatever, right? That's
Yeah.
a whole different level of
It's a whole other animal. Yeah.
fired, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So the synced pass key, great for consumer, and they're even saying it's great for enterprise when the alternative is a username password.
True.
Right. So if I
Yeah.
have my iPad, my iPhone, my, two iPhones, whatever, and all those work, they're saying that that's still better than a username and password that can be guess coerced, whatever. And I
Yeah.
kind of agree with that.
Yeah.
But when you have username password 2FA, that's where it gets into, how much do you want to trust the synced passkey? And then maybe you want to just use device bound passkeys and restrict it to one registration at a time, right?
Right. That makes sense. Okay, so we're running up on time. So looking at it from a one Cosmos perspective, we do FIDO, right? We do lots of different FIDO authentications. How do we support these passkeys, and what does that look like from our perspective, just for people listening in?
Yeah. So when you put our FIDO solution in the mix, it becomes really easy for developers to just drop a couple lines of code into any application, and we take care of the rest.
Mhm.
So the way it's done most successfully in the consumer world is you authenticate the way you do today. Home Depot, username, password, and you pop up a very nice, warm, fuzzy, smiley face headed screen that says, "Would you like to go passwordless?" Right. So
Mhm.
we'll take care of that for you. Detect if the browser can do it, and do all these others, a lot of devil in the details for that to work right, and enable it. The next time they come to log in, it'll just say, "Hey, do your Touch ID, Face ID, Windows Hello." And it's that easy. So we take the heavy lifting of learning how to do this stuff. And on top of that, we provide those rules that you can implement depending on the risk of the application.
Hmm.
So you don't have to build that stuff into, downstream somewhere else. And then the third big benefit is when you want that passkey to work across different applications at the same company. So mortgages, checking, private wealth, trading. A lot of times they have different usernames, passwords, and all that stuff.
Yeah.
You can have that passkey work across all those properties. So it's almost like you created your own single sign-in, leveraging this new technology, because our server's making it really easy for that stuff to float within your own organization.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And what are the different, so you said, FIDO, any type of FIDO authentication is a passkey. What are the different types of FIDO authentication or passkey authentications do we support here at One Cosmos?
Yeah, we support not only FIDO, of course. FIDO is what's going to make passwordless go mainstream.
Yeah.
But so if you want to enable your Apple passkey or your Google, Android passkey, or just a browser, we make that, as any option that you can put into your, configuration.
Yeah.
So for example, to demonstrate, I can log in with the One Cosmos app, which has amazing zero trust biometrics and Fort Knox. But then, because I demo, I came in and said, let's add my Apple passkey as option 2.
Yeah.
If I lose my phone, all I need is any of my Apple devices to get into my, One Cosmos mail, as an example. So we support all the, what they're called platform authenticators. We support any type of FIDO authentication, like the YubiKeys and other types of devices.
The Windows Hello touch sensor, the Mac touch sensor, all that kind of stuff, right? Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay. Cool. All right, Mike, I appreciate you shedding some light on passkeys, because it's been a pretty hot topic. You see people organizations calling them all kinds of different things. There's enterprise passkeys, there's passkeys, there's, I don't know, they're calling them all kinds of crazy things. But at the end of the day, I think you cleared up a lot of the confusion, at least that I had, around what they are and how they work and who supports them. So I appreciate it, and we look forward to having you on again.
Looking forward to it. Thank you.
All right. Have a good weekend. Thanks, everybody. That's another IBA Friday, and we look forward to seeing you again in about 2 weeks or so. Talk to you again soon.